Melissa, and it also has to do with the protests in Hong Kong. Twitter putting out a statement moments ago saying that they are disclosing what they are calling a significant state-backed information operation focused on the situation in Hong Kong, specifically the protest movements and their calls for political change. This disclosure consists of 936 accounts originating from within the People's Republic of China, PRC. Overall, these accounts were deliberately and specifically attempting to sow political discord in Hong Kong, including undermining the legitimacy and political positions of the protest movement on the ground. We have reliable evidence to support that this is a coordinated state-backed operation. They go on to say that they identified large clusters of accounts behaving in a coordinated manner to amplify messages related to the Hong Kong protests. Twitter is banned in the PRC, but they did say that these accounts were accessed using VPNs. There were some specific IP addresses that originated in mainland China that were able to use Twitter, but they are disclosing at least 936 accounts, a state-backed operation to undermine the protesters in Hong Kong.
其實佢哋衝入嚟嘅時候，佢哋人數至少有30個或者40個左右嘅白色衫嘅人士，而佢哋大部分都係手持武器啦，包括一啲藤枝啦，有啲人就會攞咗一啲鐵嘅告示牌啦，係啦，咁去追打人嘅，而好多人都走咗入列車入邊咯，而車入邊大部分都係普通。
Police did say the next day that they'd arrested 6 people on charges of unlawful assembly, and said they had links to the Triad, Hong Kong's mafia-like network of gangs.
For that, we turn to Kenneth Lieberthal. He was Senior Director for Asia on the National Security Council staff during the Clinton administration. He's now Professor Emeritus at the University of Michigan. And Min-Shin Pei is Professor of Government at Claremont McKenna College. He writes extensively about China. Hundreds of protesters have already been arrested. Based on what you've heard from the government so far, what do you think the Chinese government will do?
Well, first of all, the Hong Kong government has arrested them, and so it's up to the Hong Kong government to decide whether to charge those who have been arrested or whether to prosecute those who have been charged. So this is up to the Hong Kong government. What the Chinese government wants to do really depends on whether the Hong Kong government can maintain control of the situation. A few days ago, it certainly seemed that the Hong Kong government was losing its grip. Today, I'm a little bit more relieved.
But I think that way forward will require first an initiative by the Hong Kong government, to my mind likely including a willingness by the Chief Executive, Carrie Lam, to step down, some outreach to the major constituencies across Hong Kong to form some sort of commission to review what's happened and carry out necessary investigations and give their opinion. Essentially a long-term trust-building process that can ease tensions and stop a situation where radicals, the most radical elements among demonstrators are seizing the initiative and frankly, moving beyond what I think Beijing can possibly tolerate. But I very much agree with Min-Shin. This is a very dangerous situation, and frankly, no one knows exactly what the politics in Beijing are among the leadership that inevitably will play a role in how this is handled there.
Mention very briefly, if you can, what is at stake here for the Chinese government? How is Beijing assessing this?
Well, it's really its authority in Hong Kong, because the Beijing government is seeing this challenge as not a challenge to the Hong Kong government, but to the authority of the Chinese government.
So we've seen what President Trump has had to say so far. Is there or should there be a role for the U.S. in all of this?
Yes, there should be a role, but the role should be very delicate, quiet. I think one thing President Trump can do is to pick up the phone and have a quiet conversation with President Xi Jinping and urge him not to intervene.
Ken Lieberthal, what do you make of this? How should the U.S. be acting, if at all, at this moment?
We should be making some suggestions about how to move forward in this situation and maintain peace. Clearly, if this goes off the rails, it will be enormously damaging to U.S.-China relations, among other things, in the region.